Hi there, and welcome to the March 2021 product update for iplicit. In today's video, we will be covering how to check your version, where you can find the release notes, and we'll be taking a quick look at some of the new features for this month's release. So now let's take a look at some of the highlights for the March 2021 release. So the first thing we're going to take a look at today is the introduction to data access control, which allows us to restrict what legal entities and bank accounts users are able to see. We've also got the introduction to document type defaults, as well as document type access restrictions. We're also going to take a look at Cashbook intercompany transfers. We're going to take a brief look at domestic reverse charge and how iplicit have implemented that into the system. And then finally, we'll be taking a look at the inquiry loading improvements. But firstly, we're going to take a look at the data access control. So on screen now, you'll see that I've set up two legal entities, and I have two particular users, Joe Blogs and John Doe. They both have the exact same access. They're both able to see purchase invoices. And on the data access control, you can see I've got three separate rules set up. So the first rule for both legal entities, I've put myself in. And for Burns Industries, I have gone ahead and put Joe Blogs in. And on Acme Corporation, I put in John Doe. So now if I head to the user, I'm heading to John Doe first. If I go to purchases and then invoices, I can only see a list of the Acme Corporation invoices. And if I was to try and filter, I could only ever find Acme Corporation invoices. And if I was to create a new invoice, I cannot enter for any other legal entity apart from Acme Corporation. So if I go ahead and go in and log in as Joe Blogs, you'll see with the exact same access, this time I'm only able to see the legal entity Burns Industries, and I'm only able to see invoices for this legal entity. And if I was to go ahead and select new, again the legal entity defaults, and I'm only able to select Burns Industries. So if you have multiple legal entities and you'd like to restrict user access based on the legal entities, then I'd encourage you to take a look at the new data access control feature. And the next feature we will take a look at is the document type defaults. We realized there was a demand for document types to be defaulted both on an environment level and on an individual level. So you now have the ability to set those document type defaults up on the environment settings, and then this will carry across for all users. And this next feature really goes hand in hand with the document type defaults, document type access restrictions. This allows for more in-depth access control. You can now control what document types users are able to select when creating new documents based on their specific user roles. So you can see within this video, John Doe has a specific set of user roles that only allow him to see specific purchase invoice document types. And if we compare that now to Joe Blogs, you can see he has a different set of document types he can choose from, and that all drills down to the roles we've seen before. Okay, and the next feature we're going to take a look at is the Cashbook intercompany transfers and the Cashbook internal transfers. So as you can see on screen, we've got the different bank accounts with the different payment methods, and we can see what's allowed. So the first demonstration I'm going to do, if we go into the bank reconciliation, we can see I have an intercompany transfer and an internal transfer on the bank side. So now I'm going to go ahead and select transfer, and we're going to do an internal one first. So I'll pick the Burns to Burns. And you can see that it's also populated a lot of the fields already for me, so I can go ahead and click submit, and this will match off within the bank rec. And if I go to the match tab, you can see where that is in there. And if I was to go to that bank rec for the other Burns bank account, you'd see it in there, but we're going to quickly do the intercompany transfer as well. So I'm going to select a bank account from another legal entity, and you'll see that I'm able to populate some of the fields here, enter an amount, and click submit. And again, this will appear within the other bank rec. So we've just seen some of the FX Cashbook internal transfers and intercompany transfers, and now we're going to take a look at the domestic reverse charge VAT changes. Following the recent HMRC changes for the construction industry scheme, iplicit now supports domestic reverse charge VAT for both purchases and sales. And iplicit makes reverse charge very simple and painless, and it's available to all iplicit customers with no extra cost. So now we're going to take a brief look at the inquiry loading enhancements. In response to user feedback, we've added the ability for users to cancel running an inquiry. This option is very useful when a user accidentally selects the wrong parameters and then negates having to wait for the query to complete before correcting their selections. To find out what version you're on, head to the Pulse and the version number can be located at the bottom of your screen. To find this month's release notes, as well as all prior months' release notes, head to the iplicit Support Center. So let's take a look at what we've seen today. We've seen the introduction of data access control that allows us to restrict what user accounts can see what legal entities and what documents are associated to these legal entities and bank accounts. We've seen the introduction of document type defaults that allow us to set defaults from the environment settings. In junction with this, we've been able to see the document type access restrictions, which allow us to restrict a user's access and restrict what document types they're allowed to enter. We've seen the introduction to Cashbook intercompany transfers, and we can see that we could do this for FX transactions as well. We've had a chance to see the new domestic reverse charge, and we've taken a brief look at some of the inquiry loading improvements. So thank you for watching the product update for March 2021. If you'd like to know more, please don't hesitate to contact our support team with any questions you may have. We do offer bite-sized online training for any users that would like to learn more about the system, including some of the new features released today. Our email is support@iplicit.com. Thank you for watching.